You're not
Welcome.
kidding me. Straight into it.
Jeez. Man, this Dallas, Texas does not like Wi-Fi or the StreamYard because it just takes forever to. Anyway, Kevin, how are you?
I'm really good, Jay. How are you doing today, my friend?
I am. I wore shorts. Hit some golf balls this morning. Sure beats the Colorado weather that we were in last week. So, no offense, that's your home, But
I'm from California.
well, I always think of you still from Denver, but you were wise. You got to the East Coast. So
Yeah.
once again, did you have a good conference? Did you get to meet some people?
Yeah. I did. I got a chance to hang out with some nice folks, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Got to hang out with you, and that was always cool, and it was cool. I had a really good time. I got an email from the organizer, and she was like, there were 1,500 people there.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. She said it was one of the most successful ones they've ever had. So
Just seemed it seemed successful. But anyway,
Yeah.
great presentation with Dr. Barnes you had. So just
Yeah.
really kind of, in families, I get a lot. It's a great opportunity. I know Kevin will speak for the same thing, but to meet new facilities, to outline facilities, to talk with clinicians, it's in this industry, we love it. I mean, if we're referring out, we love, learning about the new clinicians, the new techniques, whatever it may be. So it's always informative for both of us. I know that. So enjoy it. So you'll see under Kevin W. Peterson, Instagram. I've been creeping you all week, and keep up the good content.
Yeah, today was a new content was with about therapy dogs with Bert. He's getting a lot of play.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I got to see Bird in Colorado, so I can relate to putting at ease. It wasn't. I grew up with a cat, but I still had that same childhood flash. So
Yeah.
you got something there. So this week we're going heavy on parenting, and a lot of parents. I went with a theme.
Okay.
So if you're a parent, if you have a parent of an addict, if you're suffering, if you're a sister, just tune in. This is an amazing show for people. It's just the family aspect. It's a family disease. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
Real basic. How do we as parents know if there is an issue or if we are overreacting? I, the mother, feel the need to step in immediately. My husband leans towards not overreacting. This is the common, well, we did it when we were kids. How are we supposed to, we get it all the time. How do you handle this?
Well, you were at the presentation, and that was part of the presentation is how do you discern between someone who's just experimenting or doing what we would call normal stuff and someone who's having a problem. And so someone who's having a problem is running into situations like having issues with the law, having issues at school, having issues at work, changes in sort of rapid and sudden changes in their social group, rapid and sudden changes at school, rapid and sudden changes with their hygiene. Um, Here's the thing that I say, and I put this in one of my current reels on Instagram. Kids don't leave breadcrumbs; they leave bread loaves. And so trust your instincts as a parent. If you're starting to see things that you're like, "What? That doesn't look right," act upon it. Don't be afraid to not act upon it. Let me tell you something: that the world is full of people that are like, "I really wish I would have." And especially this day and age. So, and what does that look like? Does that mean, calling in the SWAT team and sending them off to, a 2-year boot camp treatment program? No, it means saying, hey, we're going to talk to somebody. We're going to bring in somebody like Jay, who's going to sit down and say, let me share with you my experience. Let's talk about what's going on here. I'll tell you right before tonight, I was on the phone with a colleague of mine from Colorado. Was, hey, I need a consult. I'm like, yeah, sure. What's going on? And she's like, I got a kid who, is starting to run up against the consequences. That's what we look for, is consequences. And the family is shielding him from the consequences. They talked the cop out of giving him a ticket. They talk the other people out of the consequences. I'm like, I know they think they're helping him, but they're actually hurting him. Consequences are what get you to wake up and see what's going on. And so I would say, Mom, nothing wrong with standing up and taking a stand for your kid. And if Dad doesn't want to see it, that's fine. But I would tell you, unfortunately, the way this ends is bad. So I would say, you don't have to go full nutty, but you can just say, hey, I'm gonna bring somebody in and we're gonna have a conversation. And at the very least, I will have relieved my guilt and feeling like I've done something. Your kid may be like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. But at the very least, you will put some information forward.
Yeah. Good segue.
Mm-hmm.
We have hired a sober coach for our 20-year-old son who is less than 5 months sober. Great job, family. I can just tell you. So, whatever. My son seems to open up to his coach, which we are grateful for. But our son continues to hide nicotine from us. Now it goes on. I don't like these 200 character, especially when these emails are pages. But so ultimately, the family is kind of in between. The sober coach is kind of saying, hey, he's testing clean. I understand nicotine is an issue, but the family the mom is quite frankly open as to, like, she's like, I'm grateful he's sober, but do I nail him on this nicotine? The sober coach doesn't seem to think so.
Here's the thing I would say for a 20-year-old son you got him 5 months sober. My honest belief is, leave him alone. Take the victory that you got him 5 months sober. If he's using, whether he's vaping or smoking cigarettes or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like it. I'm not happy with it. But I would say, let's take the victory and move forward. I have no problem with your mom being super clear and saying, I don't like this. I'm not happy with this. I would eventually like this to be addressed. And the truth of the matter is, believe it or not, statistically, and Kevin McCauley was the one that taught me this. I went to his talk on Wednesday morning, and that guy, he's amazing, but I got to tell you, he starts going down the science path and I'm just like, huh? You had me. And then he just goes, he takes a turn and I'm just like, what? But he was the one that taught me is that we used to say, let's do one thing at a time. But statistically, if we can get people to quit everything, they will stay quit. But if your son's 5 months sober and he's working with a sober coach and he's doing a good thing, don't put the screws to him. Take the victory.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that kind of gets a headache after hearing Kevin McCauley. So we as a family are concerned about my 22-year-old brother using drugs. My parents are supporting him financially due to my brother having 2 kids. How do we go about having a boundaries discussion? This is the sister, I believe. Mm-hmm. And the parents are on board. They're just kind of, when do we do this? Like, if she made the joke, do we just call them up and say, oh, by the way, here are all our boundaries? Can you kind of outline the kind of boundaries discussion?
So yeah, absolutely. This is kind of the classic situation, right? Is that you have a 22-year-old's got a couple of kids and you're footing the bill, and I would also venture to say that you're probably not just footing the bill. You're probably also taking care of the kids. You're probably also helping out on all the other stuff. So I think it's time for a family meeting. I think then the family meetings needs to come down to this, and by the way, get my book. You can get it for free. Go on my website and go to my Instagram, Kevin W. Peterson, and go to any one of the reels, and it'll say you can get my book for free by commenting the word hope. Really straightforward and simple. Set boundaries with him in 3 categories, and you just say this: we love you, but we're not willing to support you financially if you're going to continue to go down the path of drugs and alcohol. What that means is no drugs, no alcohol. And we're going to get you some help, like in the terms of a recovery coach. And there's going to be drug testing, and there's going to be breathalyzing. We expect you to be, that's the first category. The second category is we expect you to be either going to work or going to school or a combination of the both, and doing some self-supporting financial stuff. And we're willing to help, but that help is going to come in. You're either going to go to school or go to work or do both, and we're going to have a budget and things are going to work out, And then the last part is family engagement and family behavior. So, if you expect us to participate, we expect you to behave in a certain way and fashion with the family. We're going to have a family meeting. If you expect us to help you with your kids, again, we're not going to be in charge. We're not going to control your life. But if you expect us to participate and help, you're going to have to participate back to us. So I don't think you should do this yourselves. I think you should bring in somebody like me or Jay. We'll help you with the process and lay it all out, put the whole thing together. The last thing I think you guys should do is do this on your own, because then it turns into a power struggle, and all the old family dynamics come in, and you did this, and when I was 5 and you did that, and that's not what we want to accomplish. What we want to accomplish is a path to success for everybody. We want to help you succeed, and this is what that looks like. And get him off the drugs, get those grandkids a successful situation, and get everybody on the path to success. And I know that sounds simple. It's not, but you're going to need some guidance. And so get the guidance from the people that this is what they do for a living.
Now, if he says no or the pushback, this is where you kind of kick in the boundaries, correct?
This is where the boundaries kick in. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to quit doing drugs. No, I'm not going to quit drinking. Then it's like, okay, well, then we're going to have to start talking about what our help looks like. Will we help the kids? Sure. We'll help pay for the daycare, but we're not going to give you money. We'll help pay for, we'll make sure they have insurance, but we're not going to fund your lifestyle. We will make sure the grandkids are okay. And there's ways to do that, and it may come down to you having to need to take the grandkids. And trust me, I've worked with plenty, and I know Jay has too. We've worked with plenty of families that have, taken the grandkids because a 22-year-old that's getting high and drinking is in no position to be taking care of kids. We have to put the needs of the kids first. So yeah, if that's what the boundary is, first things first, we got to take care of those grandkids, and then we go from there.
Well, I think bringing in the trained professional, I always say it's like the trained professional is there for the no or the, it very rarely is like, yeah, I agree. I'm so glad you guys stepped in. I will do whatever. And I'll, and so forth. That would be perfect. If it was 50-50, even I would say like families, give it a shot. More often than not, there's going to be pushback and throwing of daggers within family secrets and stuff like Kevin talked about. Someone there just to kind of calm the storm and stop the daggers and try to bring love within that circle. So I think the most important thing is that trained professional. People say like, why doesn't we need someone to have in part of our family discussion? It's for those things. Like very rarely does it just go, yeah, no, and then you guys move forward and hold hands. Normally there's some throwing of daggers, which I always say. So
totally. And I think it's also just to be able to help put together the plan and say, hey, look, we need to put the grandkids first. This isn't about trying to manipulate and control anybody. This is about making sure the grandkids are taken care of. And in order for grandkids to be taken care of, sobriety has to come first. Job, we got to get security, and then we got to figure the whole thing out. Yeah.
We support open communication with our kids. Our rule is that we do not support THC use or drinking, but if you do use, to not drive. We will come and pick you up if needed. Is this enabling?
That's a great question. And here's the thing. Yes and no. So I think every parent should have this policy. I have I have two nieces who are in college now, and 10 years ago my sister was like, "Okay, how do we deal with this?" And I said, "Well, you need to have a blanket policy that if you need help, it's a no questions asked, no penalty phase. I mean, you just call and we're there, and there can be no punishment. It's just an automatic, we'll come get you, you know, and we will rescue you." They actually, what my sister did is she created a situation with the phone where my nieces could text her and say, basically, like, is grandma okay? That was the code for
Mhm.
call me and say 911, get your ass out on the street. And then my nieces could blame her. There was a code that my nieces would text that was the come get me code, you know. And so that was a great thing that, my sister had put together with them. And she made it clear that, hey, at any point in time we'll come get you and there'll be no penalty fee. I don't care if you're wasted, I don't care if you're throwing up, your safety is our number one concern no matter what. Now, if this starts happening every weekend, we're going to have a different conversation, you know? So, is it enabling? It can be if it's all of a sudden they start using you as the designated driver Uber situation. So, obviously you want your kids to be able to connect with you and make sure that they have a safe way home. The last thing I want is your kids with other kids or driving themselves when they're hammered. That's a hard no. Um, but I also don't want them, doing this on the regular, and thinking that this is an acceptable behavior pattern. I think you as parents need to be able to say, so I've noticed this has gone from once in a blue moon to every weekend, and that concerns us that you're first of all that you're getting so drunk and so high that you're incapacitated and can't drive, and you can't. I mean, just call Uber. But why is that? Let's talk. That's the conversation we need to have, is why is this going to that level? So yeah, here's the thing: have a conversation. This is an opportunity to have a conversation. This is not an opportunity to shame or guilt or punish. This is an opportunity to have a conversation.
And this writer, I mean, says it's not happening all that much. He's saying like every 2 to 3 months or something like that. Now, you say there's no consequences and to have the open dialogue. Is there something like you kind of circle back in the next morning or something, not pointing fingers and not kind of punishment, but have a talk like what happened last night, or do you kind of review, or do you ever
Well,
have that talk?
yeah, maybe not the next morning. They're hungover. That that's when you have the I always tell people when they come home drunk, that's not when you want to yell at them. You yell at them the next morning when when they're hungover. That's when you're like, what the hell was that? And they're like, stop. Yeah, I definitely would say, hey, kind of want to know what's going on here. I mean, kind of noticing a pattern, or what's the scoop, and we're your parents, and we're happy to be your rescue ride. And the thing is, you don't want to make them uncomfortable to the space where they're not going to call you, but you also want to be like, hey, you know, what happened? Let's talk about it. And let's make sure that we're learning how to practice, safe partying.
And this was a Kevin Peterson special too, like talking about weed and drinking. If we're getting into harder drugs,
Oh,
the discussion is different, right?
I have sort of a hard pass, hard no policy when it comes to the harder drugs. I mean, because nowadays that stuff is just all being laced with fentanyl, and I just have a zero tolerance policy for anything along those lines. I don't want these kids ending up dead. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's just no.
Our 22-year-old daughter is dating someone that has had drug issues in the past and just recently was hospitalized due to drinking and using. We test our daughter regularly, and she has continually passed. The concern here from the family perspective is playing with fire almost. Like they're in true love. They're 22, like so and so. Like the family is needing guidance around this whole situation because they obviously have stepped in. She is, it sounds like, passing drug tests, not using, but is in love with an addict.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I understand. That's a tough one, because they don't want, kind of like we were just talking about, when they don't want her to be out one night and hanging out with someone who's going to be doing that stuff. And here's the thing, and I'll tell you, this is this is the number one thing, man. You tell him that he's off limits, and it's just going to get worse. So good luck with that. That's not going to work. I would just say, hey, look, we love you, and one thing that I would say is, hey, you're welcome to see so and so, but tell him to come to the house. He's welcome to come here. That was another thing that my sister and we talked a lot about. I was like, you got 2 daughters, they're hotties. One of the best ways to screen the guys they're dating is tell them, yeah, sure, you're there. Tell them they're welcome to come, but they're welcome to come over to the house, have dinner, meet the family, meet everybody, hang out. It was hilarious because if the guy would come over to meet one girl, the other girl would bust his chops, and really put him to the grinder, which turned out to be just hilarious, And but hey, that's the deal, man. You want to date my daughter, you got to come over and meet the family and be part of the family, because that's how we roll as a family, And I got to tell you, that's going to eliminate about 50% right there. Just guys are going to be like, yeah, I'm not down for that, and, and then the ones that can hang, okay, cool. You can hang, and see what's up, So to me, that would be a good way that's a little trick, a little tidbit of how to weed out the losers,
You got all these tricks. So last and final one, this is a Chronic Hope Institute kind of definition. My mom's health finances are at an all-time low, dealing with my sister's addiction. Numerous treatments she's paid for. She doesn't sleep much. Bail sister out of jail.
Yeah.
This is the sister that she says I've detached completely from the family. This is another one that went on and on. So the sister is done. Had the conversation. I'm done. Can't support. And the mom is, a mom that we both know very well. I mean, not just personally, but like we know this family member that is codependent and so forth. And so you have one sister that's saying, like, my mom is not listening to anything, has seen a therapist supposedly according to the sister, and just completely shuts everything out. Says, like, until you're a mom, thinking. Another prime example, like my mom had this, my mind was blown when she looked at me and said, I can't love you sober anymore, Jay. And that to me went right to my heart. And it's something I use all the time. This is a mom that's trying to love someone sober.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't work. So, yeah, I got so many thoughts. I mean, I'm sure this mom is in so much pain, and I want so badly for the mom to realize that the best thing she can do in this situation is take care of herself. It's just, she's got to take care of herself. And by that, I mean, she can look at this person and say, I love you, but I'm just not willing to ride this train with you anymore, and I'm getting off. But if you want help to get help, I'll help you. I mean, I will. If you want to get sober and you want to get your life back together, oh my God, I'll move heaven and earth with you. I will do everything in my power to help you. But I cannot ride this train. It's a roller coaster. I can't ride this roller coaster with you anymore. But and as soon as you're ready to get off, I will do everything I can for you. But I can't help you by clinging to the roller coaster ride and going crazy. And the problem is that mom is just so deep into it, she can't see that. And so, I mean, it's just for the sister that's detached herself. I would say, throw mom my stuff, throw mom your stuff, and just say, hey, this is what these guys do. I've heard that statement before. Oh, until it's your child, you'll never know. Yeah. I had a mom square off it with me one time in a family program and say, you'll never know what it's like. And I'm like, actually, I do know what it's like. My mom died from drug addiction. I mean, I totally get it. Oh, look who's here. And, I know exactly what it's like. Your son's still alive. My mom's dead, and there was nothing I could do. I mean, the thing is that you have to be willing to take a stand for the other person and tell them that, when you're ready, I'm ready. And I love you. I love you so much that I'm willing to help you. But until they're willing to, until they're willing to get the help, there's nothing you can do, and that's the problem. Like you and I always say, she's going to love them to death, and it's unfortunate. I get it. I get where she's coming from. I get where the mom's coming from. She really thinks the mom thinks that she's making the trains run on time, and it's unfortunate that she's really not.
Yeah, and I reached out to the sister and certainly said, hey, I'm sure Kevin would talk to your mom. Consultation. I mean, there's not a lot of finances. Obviously, the sister is saying like anything that she has gone to, the sister's addiction. I made a commitment. I mean, there's several programs. This is for everyone too. I mean, sure. Codependency is real, and there's programs and there's intensives, and there's a lot of facilities out there that are dealing with the loved ones of addicts that can go away. You can do a 3-day or 4-day. We can certainly get the help for anyone that may not be able to afford it. I know there's a lot of scholarship. So the first step is reaching out. And if you're willing to have a conversation, then, so forth. And, the sister, kudos. I mean, loving from afar, you're doing a lot more, but, yeah, this breaks my heart, and there goes I. I mean, my mom was in the prime example of this. Like, my mom was legitimately feeling for a while that she would just need to pray harder or support me or bail me out or send me, all these different things. And it's
I get it. I mean, And I mean, I get it where they're coming from. It's like, I failed as a parent. I just need to try harder. It just reflects poorly on me. I get all that. I mean, I totally get it, and it's like, yeah, I know, but this is an adult. This is an adult person making adult decisions, and it's got nothing to do with you. I mean, there's nothing you can do. The best thing you can do is disengage from them. And you can say it with, look, I love you. I love you. You're my child. I care so much about you, but I cannot participate in this process, and that's the most important thing. And I got to tell you something, when my parents did that to me when I was 26, when they said, we love you, we just can't do this anymore. I was just like, what? What do you mean? Well, I don't understand. And they were like, we're done. And I, I was like, oh yeah, I've heard this before. And then they were like, no, we're done. And we're done, but we're going to let you do whatever you want. We're not going to try to interfere. That kind of blew my head open. I was like, what do you mean? Like, no, we're not going to fight you, but if you want help, we will help you, but we're not going to do this anymore. And I was just like, oh, wow. That was a whole new tactic on their part, that wasn't any manipulation or any bribe or any bullying. They were just like, that's it. You know, I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what got my attention. So
chronichope.us. Look Kevin up on social media, Kevin W. Peterson on Instagram. I'm going to send this little clip to the question, and hopefully it finds the eyes and ears of the mom, and hopefully you reach out. I mean, I really do hope, and even Bert is wanting you to reach out. So, you know what? It just breaks my heart. But another Family Matters. Thank you so much to everyone that continues to throw questions out there. I know we're making a difference. And, chronichope.us, jump on it. It's not a sales gimmick. It's not a sales technique. There's tons of free resources. Go on to Instagram, Kevin W. Peterson. You're not going to get charged if you just go on Kevin's Instagram reels and just listen. Just get quiet. Don't have chaos going around you, and just listen to what he kind of lays out. You guys are not alone. You're not unique. And there's a lot of us going through it. And there's a lot of people at different aspects of the journey. And Kevin has been there from day one and can guide you through wherever the journey is. But keep the questions coming. If you're watching this on replay, don't hesitate to reach out. Put a question in. We'll get to it. But the questions are all coming through DMs, which but if you want, you can always DM either one of us, myself, or you can put a question and we'll get to it. And you can be anonymous. We won't put your name or screen name on it. We'll just put the questions like we've done. There's no names attached to it. So, Kevin, let's do this again next week. I think we've earned the right to come back next week.
Yes, sir. And I will be 1 year older next week.
What?
Yeah, my birthday's the 12th.
Wow. Is it possible you get a year younger every time I see you? I mean, is that possible?
That's what good clean living by the beach does to a man,
Some of that salt water, huh?
Something like that.
All righty, I'll see you.
See you later, Jay. Take it easy, buddy.